All right, away we go. It is another nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com, brought to you by our good friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get you their new Little Dippers. This week you can get 8 instead of 6 in the meal. They're basically just really good. I don't want to say chicken nuggets because they're bigger than that, but they're not quite as big as the chicken tenders. But they're delicious. So make sure you get down to Galactic Fried Chicken. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of your order. All right, Aaron, let's get to it. Excellent BCJ podcast tonight. First time appearance. We're at a point now, 350 plus episodes.
That was number 350.
That's perfect. We had a great 350th episode. We don't get many first-time guests anymore. Usually it's somebody that's been on the show and, familiar with things. First-time guest, Chad Dollar, new associate head coach for Wes Miller's basketball program. It was great. Great interview.
I told Dave while you were on the phone with Chad, after he left abruptly, his energy's contagious.
Yeah.
And I found myself, as I was sitting in the studio and listening, I found myself smiling with him because you can't help but to smile with him when he's that hyped up. And I'm just like, what are you doing, you weirdo? Like, as I'm talking to myself, because I'm just like, yeah, coach. Yeah.
That's the general energy around the program right now, though. They talk about the movement. Like, the energy behind it is very real. It's not fabricated. It's not fake.
I agree. I want people to know that it's not some corny little thing. Like
it's not a Butch Jones. It's not Butch Jones. It's not Hold the Rope or Rep the C or Brick by Brick or it's team, right? It's Luke Fickell and team. That meant something to him. That was real. I think the movement for Wes Miller and his staff and what they're building also very real. So make sure after you check out this, go check out that, because if you're looking to learn about where this team is at as the
whole
season nears, the entire roster, every player individually was discussed, every returning player, every newcomer, CJ Anthony, the walk-on, we went top to bottom.
Do they have a walk-on yet to replace Sam Martin?
Yes, and we'll get to that. It's Chase Kirkwood, who kind of had a tryout last year as like an elevated manager position. He was on the scout team. Like, he earned his way into the family. So
big ass shoes to fill.
Yeah. We need to get Sam Martin on. How can we be the walk-on network?
We are the walk-on network.
And we haven't had Sam Martin on this show? Come on. I'm slipping. Big time.
I've had some things going on.
I have. But we're going to have another one on next week on the BCJ podcast as Tobes. Maybe a Tobes and Sam Martin episode would be. I feel like they overlapped. I know it's crazy to think, but I feel like
even if they didn't,
they missed each other by a year.
There'd still be some war stories to swap.
Yeah. Nightcap tonight. Interesting. We're at media days. So everybody's having their media days, which means coaches, administrators, conference commissioners. Everybody's in front of the mic. Everybody's talking as we're a little under 4 weeks away from the start of the season. And the ACC commissioner started speaking today on expansion of the NCAA tournament.
ACC.
Yes, that's what I said. ACC.
Okay. Just wanted to reiterate.
I wasn't talking about what's near and dear to your heart.
Well,
American Athletic Conference.
But the AAC commissioner was in New York, so he's been doing some things as well, bolstering.
No, the Big 12 commissioner.
I'm sorry, Big 12 commissioner was in New York. Man, there's so much going on. The AAC commissioner was on Zoom.
Where I'm apparently going to have to be tomorrow morning for UC's media days. from the University of Cincinnati campus.
How funny is it that the Big Ten was complaining about having to go to Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, people here are like, can we just not be on Zoom?
Can I just have a morning off? Can I just not deal with this shit? Why can't UC be in like the 2:00 time slot tomorrow?
I mean, why do I have to do AAC recaps on Sunday nights?
For now until eternity.
Because this is the job that we took, Chad.
From now until eternity.
Kill me now. Do it. Kill me now.
But NCAA tournament expansion. Why? Like, I know why. I know exactly why. And we'll get into why. But this desire to mess with something that's right. It's right.
Well,
you have 31 leagues.
It was right until they added 4 more for reasons I still don't
understand.
But
it's
and that's whatever.
2 games a day on.
That's whatever. It was fine before that.
Yes, it was fine before that. They added this. Whatever. It's still fine. It's still fine. But now the talk is going to increase about expanding to 96 teams. The people in basketball, the money people, the conference commissioners, the people that are concerned about tournament credits and having programs that are stable. You know what makes your program stable for the most part, Aaron? Making the NCAA tournament. You know what destabilizes your program? Not making the NCAA tournament.
Sure.
Like if a coach, hypothetically speaking, was to miss 4 straight NCAA tournaments in his 4 years that he was the coach, it's kind of how you get fired. And then your school replaces you with a known cheater. Was that out loud? But I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry.
Norwood.
So you look at the ACC. Why is this coming from the ACC? Well, in the ACC, you have a bunch of programs where if basketball doesn't mean more than football, it means equally as much as football. And for most of these places, Duke, Carolina, NC State, Maryland. Well, Maryland's in the Big Ten. Sorry. Forget them.
Virginia.
Miami. Yeah, Miami. Yes, Florida State and Clemson are football schools. But a majority of the ACC are basketball schools.
Miami made it to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, but they're still Miami's identity is football. I'm not saying that you can still football. Be good.
I don't know that they have an identity right now.
Yeah, but all it would take is one. All it would take is one undefeated season, or like one run to the playoff, and we would be talking about Miami again.
The U is back. The U is back
because they're a football school. If Cincinnati made a run to the Final Four in basketball, we would be talking about football has been great for this stretch at Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's history is basketball. That's most of the schools in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So what commissioners like the ACC commissioner want is to change everything. By changing everything, what you do is you say, okay, 96 teams are going to get into the NCAA tournament. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to take away automatic qualifying bids. And instead, we're going to create a tournament that has the best 96 teams in the country. And the way that they're going to sell this is football has 130 schools, or 131 schools. And we're going to 12 teams, which is 10%.
Okay.
Roughly 10%. Well, okay. Well, now, we got 300 plus teams in basketball. Mm-hmm. We've got to, if you look at the NBA and you look at, even in football, 12 teams is not commiserate with, if you look at the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, it's generally like 40 to 50% of your teams make it into the tournament. Well, we're going to stop at 30, right? Only 30% of our teams are going to make the tournament. But you're going to have to be one of the best 96 teams. So what happens there? Now all of a sudden, you're going to have the ACC, the Big East, the Big 12. Like, this is relevant to Cincinnati as they go into the Big 12, because there's going to be years, even if you have a good team, that you go 8-10 and you have a losing record in your conference, but you feel like, we lost home and home to Kansas. Baylor got us. Texas Tech maybe got us twice this year. Like, we lost 10 games. We lost 10 games to teams that are all in the top 25.
Who cares? You lost. Like, this is the problem I had with super conferences to begin with. And this is why you shouldn't be expanding to 16, 24 teams, as some are talking about the Big Ten getting to 24 teams. And at that point, please stop calling yourself the Big Ten. Please. But it just, none of this makes sense to me, especially if it comes at the cost of the little guy, as they want to.
Oh, it's gonna.
But I think that's the thing where you talk about
the argument is going to be.
Can I talk?
8-10. Well, I'm going to give you an example. 8-10 Maryland is better than 24-7 Davidson.
That's been the beauty, though, of what March Madness has always been. That's the fact that it's called March Madness, is because you've had these runs from Cinderellas, these darlings that you have never seen. And would Steph Curry even be in the NBA if Davidson doesn't make that run? I don't know.
Probably, but his path would have been a lot different.
It would have been so different. I just don't know what this does for ratings when I don't know that I'm as dialed in to watch 8 and 10 teams face off.
Here's where you're right. Maybe we'll go. Maybe Wright State is as good as 8 and 10. What would be the regular season?
Minnesota
or Rutgers. I was going to throw Rutgers out there.
Sure.
Maybe Wright State is as good as that team.
Maybe.
But when you play the game, you have Villanova or Virginia or one of these top seeds that, the teams at the top seed every year, and they lose to Minnesota. And you know what America's going to do?
Okay, cool.
Great. You know what America's going to say? I really have to watch that fucking team next week or on Sunday, like, play somebody else. Like, they had their one shining moment and they knocked off a top seed.
I mean, I'm here's the thing, chat. You could have watched these teams in the regular season play each other, right?
Right.
Especially if it's only these Power 5 teams playing. You've seen most of these teams. And are you tuning into an 8 and 10 Virginia taking on a 12 and 4? I guess 12 and we'll say 12 and 6, 12 and 7.
And we're just throwing out conference records because it's
Miami.
I'm
not watching that, because I don't care about their conference play. I want to watch David versus Goliath and see if Butler can advance as they once did 2 years in a row. By the way, it wasn't an anomaly.
No, they had NBA guys and Brad Stevens.
But that's why Brad Stevens was elevated to where he got elevated. I just don't think you're going to see these.
Butler elevated to where they're elevated. They're in the Big East now. Yeah. They were the Horizon League.
Yeah. They were our rivals. Wright State's rivals was Butler.
St. Peter's. That drew some of the biggest ratings on the planet.
The Peacocks?
Last year when they made their run, right?
Mm-hmm. Beat Kentucky.
Massive ratings. Is that the same if it's
no.
Creighton in a down year was in that 15 seed or whatever?
But if you push the little guys out as the big guy, the bully in the room, if you push the little guys out, it's insurance, right? because even if you lose to somebody who's lower seeded than
Your
you,
conference is still
you can't. Nobody can recruit against you. They lost to
right.
St. Peter's.
Right.
You kidding me?
No, they just had a bad game against Creighton.
In the tournament, they pissed down their leg to St. Peter's.
Virginia losing to a 16 seed. Like, now they had the ultimate high-low. They lose to a 16 seed, and then the next year they win the championship.
Sure. But that's the beauty of what we have right now. And
right.
You lose.
I'm on your side on this.
I understand. And
I'm just speaking from why this is being forced. Why it's being pushed.
As a sports guy, I'm totally a traditionalist. And if you are not a traditionalist, I totally understand why you would pick the side against me, because you want to see advancement, you want to see evolution and all of that. I get it. And listen, I'm even okay with going to 96 if that's really what you want to do.
But don't take away the auto bids.
No, because that's the fun of this whole thing. That's been the fun of this whole thing. Of course, you screw them in the long run because now they have to play an extra round, because you're not giving any of those guys anything higher than a 14 seed at any point.
Well, what's going to happen is like the top, however, like I don't know the math on the top, however many seeds will get a bye.
Yeah.
And the first round will be play-in games to the bracket, essentially, to get to 64.
It just seems that this whole thing seems like madness to me, because right now you have it so good.
It comes down to tournament credits.
Why
more inventory for the TV partners?
Why reinvent the wheel? Just because you decided to add UCLA and
that's why.
I mean, UCLA and USC to your conference, or because you decided to blow the whole thing up to 24 and overinflate yourself with some teams that, by the way, probably aren't as good as some of the teams that would make it otherwise.
Well, yeah, because what's happening at the mid majors? Like, what's happening at the mid majors?
Things are leveling out right now.
They're developing guys 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, and now with the transfer portal, what would happen if you take away the auto bids?
But I feel like the talent level as a whole has stepped up because of training throughout the offseason and because of just everything that kids do nowadays. If you're really, really into like AAU camps and all of that, like everything's taken a step up to where I think talent is, especially at the college level, leveling out.
It's not at the top.
No, but when you're talking about
in the middle,
yes, that's what I mean, that's where you can have a St. Peter's run or a Davidson run, which still isn't that long ago. And I think that's where the evolution of the AAU bracket and all of that has really taken off, taken some shine. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand what the point is, other than
money.
But
it's always money.
But in the long run,
answer is always money, sir.
If no one's watching, is it generating money?
That's what's going to be fascinating. Will people tune in for 18 and what? You get 31 regular season games.
They will, because it's still going to be
18 and 13. You win one, you lose one in your conference tournament. You're 19 and 14. You played 33 games. You're 19 and 14. You're a 14 seed in the NCAA tournament. So you win your first round game.
Are you still going to have conference tournaments then, or are you going to be playing for the NIT? Which
that's where this gets interesting, because if auto bids are gone, aren't conference tournaments gone?
I wouldn't play a conference tournament game, not one.
Right.
I wouldn't care unless that's where you get the trophy from. But don't you get the trophy from the regular season?
And guess what?
Those collect
a lot of those
gobs of money.
Make a lot of money on conference tournaments.
Yeah.
And
they don't have to. They don't have to share it with anybody.
Right. That's where the conference makes money. Like, we talk all the time about like people. The NCAA does not make any money on football because of the bowls. The NCAA is completely shut out of making money on football.
ESPN makes a ton of money though.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the NCAA specifically. They only make money on the college basketball tournament, men's and women's, and the baseball tournament. And now softball, this women's softball tournament has gain some
Developing,
popularity.
yeah.
But that's the only places really the NCAA makes money is running those postseason tournaments. The conferences get their money from conference championship games in football and conference tournaments in basketball. If you take away the auto bid, you're taking away the money from the conference.
I don't like any of this. Leave it as is. 68 still it's 4 too many, but I'll take your 68 if you can leave out 96.
96 is dumb, and especially why they want to go to 96 and what they plan to accomplish when they get there. It's stupid. But
greedy.
They call them the autonomous 5 for a reason, and here's the thing, Aaron. Next year, UC gets a seat at the table. Fuck them kids. That's the nightcap. We'll see you next time. Brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.